I was sitting in a black Denali, waiting for the signal, not sure how long it would take until I knew it was time to get out and take a walk. And while I was sitting there, I was reflecting back to where I was a year, almost to the day prior. And that day, I was driving, barreling down Route 83, freaking out, calling my best friend, Erica, freaking out, asking for help in my mind because I was worried about where I was going. You see, I was going on a date, a first date in 20 years. 1995 to 2016, things change. I had no idea what to expect, but I knew I wanted to go on this date because I'd met this gentleman 2 weeks prior at a wedding that happened to be one of my late husband Josh's best friend. And this gentleman and I ended up having this really meaningful conversation, so I felt compelled to follow up. And when he asked me to meet him down in Baltimore to go see the Baltimore Orioles, which, by the way, I'd never been to a professional baseball game, I agreed. But I was also freaking out because it had just been 3.5 months since I lost my beloved husband, Josh. But I knew there was something, so I decided to go. But on my way down, as I'm talking to Erica, I'm freaking out. Oh my gosh, is it too soon? Is this the right thing? Is this guy a creep? I don't know. What's going on? And so I go there, and one of the things I thought about when I was planning my outfit, and us girls, you can relate, right? When you go on any like you should have seen how many times I changed my outfit tonight. But going to an Orioles game, I decided to wear an Orioles shirt, jean shorts, and a hat firmly on my head with a nice long brim. I didn't know what the expectations were on a first date in 2016, so I wanted to make sure there was a good barrier so nobody was misconstruing and I wasn't gonna be on any kissing cam on the Baltimore Orioles screen. Didn't want to be a part of that. But nonetheless, engaged in meaningful conversation. And by the end of the night, after we were safely away from all those cameras, I turned my hat around and allowed for that first kiss. And at that point, I knew I was in trouble. And I say that with a smile. There was something inside of me that realized that maybe there was something more to this person that I was engaging in a conversation with. 2 weeks later, we went on another date. And while we were there, I made sure we went across the river into Lancaster because I didn't want to meet anybody I knew. Because I was still feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm like sneaking out and somebody might find out because I didn't know how to feel about being out on a date because it had been 20 years. And it had only been a few months since I had lost Josh. And while we were on that date, I told this gentleman, I said, here's the deal. It's me, my kids, and my grief. If you're good with that, we can keep moving forward. So he said yes, and we went out to dinner. And when we went to dinner, we were sat to our seat, and our hostess said, your waiter, Josh, will be with you shortly. I knew in that moment we were good. So fast forward to a year later, I'm sitting in this black Denali, waiting for the signal. I couldn't quite tell, but I figured, you know what, I waited long enough, I'm getting out of this car. I step out, take a few steps, and I look around. I see this gorgeous Susquehanna Valley. I see the Susquehanna River, trees, beauty. I take a few steps, and I see my 4 nieces in pink dresses. 3 of them are throwing flowers around. The youngest is crying, picking up all the flowers because her sisters are making a mess everywhere. I take a few more steps forward and I look around. I see my parents smiling. I take a few more steps. I see Josh's family smiling. I take a few more steps and I see my 2 children, Justin and Carter, looking really uncomfortable wearing a suit, but very handsome. And then I take a few more and I see another young man who I'd grown to love in the past year, Will. And I keep walking forward and I stop and I turn and I look up at this tall man and I say, I do, not to the man of my dreams, but the man honors them. And I said I do to Paul. I love you, and there are no regrets. Thank you.